Hi everybody, this is Favrion, and I'm filming this part last because I don't know how to plan out a video, I guess. This video is about ninth chords in pop songs. In this video, I want to—
Whoa, wait a second. Ninth chords? What are those? Those sound really fancy. Oh, well, thanks for asking. That's a good question. The pop songs that you hear blasting on the radio every day, they generally use triads, which are chords with 3 notes in them. Ninth chords add a couple notes to them to make it sound jazzier and add some space and dimension. In other words, it's not something that you normally hear in pop music. I find it kind of fascinating when a pop song incorporates something more extended and complex like a ninth chord, because it's not something that you hear every day. That's what inspired me to make this video. I wanted to find some pop songs that had ninths in them, because they're interesting. Anyway, let's get back to that video.
I introduce you to something called the ostinato. So what is an ostinato? Essentially, you have one element that's constant when everything else around it is changing. The most common form of ostinato is in the bass. Let's stick with one note. Let's stick with this G note for a little while. And I'm going to play some chords that are going to change, but this is not going to change. It doesn't have to be one note, it can be a couple notes, like a melody. You can also do it so it's up here. It can also be the other way around. So you can have the chord being the same, but the bass changing. Now that you know what an ostinato is, welcome to the rest of the video. This first song is called It's the End of the World as We Know It and I Feel Fine. It's by the group REM. It's in the key of G major, which goes something like this. We have G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. That'll become more important later. Here are the chords for this song. We have G major, C major, which I play like this. In the playthrough, I played C major like this, instead of like this. But why? That's kind of confusing, right? So what gives? These are the same exact notes. Because we start with G major, and it's easier to go from here to here than from here to here. To make it easier to hear the difference, imagine that there's a bass note here. This is C major. This is also C major. This is called an inversion of C major. It's the same exact notes. We're just putting the G on the bottom. So anyway, we have G major, C major, B flat major, A minor. Later on we throw in F, and in the chorus we throw in a D major. B flat major is not in the key of G major. I'm going to put my finger over this B flat in question because B flat is not in the key of G major, to show you why. Notice I did not press this key at all. Instead, we're borrowing it from G minor, which goes like this. Long story short, it's just a different version of G major, but just in minor. In general, minor keys are seen as melancholic and sad and depressing. And in G minor, we have have this F, which makes the B flat chord, which is B flat D F. Speaking outside of music theory terms, it's the apocalypse we're talking about. To throw in a minor chord in a major scale kind of portrays how the apocalypse is a bad thing in a good world. We have A minor, and all the notes of A minor are in G major. And then F major later on, which I didn't do in the playthrough, but this is also not in the key of G major because there is no F. Instead of an F sharp, we have F. This is what it would sound like with F sharp. That's a different chord altogether. And again, we're borrowing from G minor because G minor has this F. And again, I think it's just another way to bring up tension in the song because the apocalypse is a tense subject. We talked about the chords, now let's talk about the melody. We're just stuck on this note the whole time, D. The first chord is G major, and this D happens to be in G major, so it works perfectly. The next chord is C major, which just for this demonstration, I'm going to play like this. Now we have an issue because D is not in C major. What we're doing is we're playing an add 9 chord. What's a ninth chord? So when you build a triad in music theory, normally you go by thirds. You can define a third as every other note in the key. So G, B, D, F sharp, A, C, E. So where does the 9 come in? So we're going like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So what would the ninth of G major be? It would be 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. This is the 9. So this is the add 9 for G major because we're just adding the ninth of the scale. So now what about C? I want to clarify something. When we have a ninth chord, we don't have to go by the root of the scale. We're starting on C because the chord in question is C. The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the add 9 for C major is D. So when we go back to the song, this D is the add 9. So this is called C add 9. We cycle through these two chords. And then we go into B flat. B flat is not in the scale, but the melody note is in the chord. So no matter how you put it, it fits because it's right there. And then we have A minor, which again, D is not in A minor. Starting from A, when you're counting in music theory, you keep going. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So another way to say this 4 is 11. I know that's weird, but it's the same note. This is the 4, this is the 11. So why are we adding the 4 in A minor? I don't really know. And they wanted to go from A minor to G major because they're right next to each other. Sometimes you do things because they sound good. There's really no other explanation. It just sounds good. And then for the chorus, we have G major and we go into D major and A minor. So the melody goes like, we have D major here, and the notes of D major are D, F sharp, A, which are all in the key of G major. Then we go into A minor again, which we talked about before. Then we go back into C major, and we go back to G. This next song is called Never Really Over by Katy Perry. This song is in A flat major, which goes something like this. We have A flat, B flat, C, D flat, E flat, F, G, A flat. So for the chords of this song, the first chord is A flat. Then we go into E flat. This is another inversion because normally E flat is played like this. But I'm playing it like this. It's the same notes rearranged. So instead of, we have just moving these down here. Because again, it's easier to go from this to this instead of this to this. Then we go into something called D flat major 7, which sounds complex, but in the key of A flat major, it's really simple to play. Starting from D flat, we're going to use the same process as before. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In the playthrough, I played it like this. I moved these down here. It's just easier, again, to go. I'm almost there playing it with one hand, but in the playthrough I did it like this. Don't make fun of me. Then we go back to E flat for a second. Then we go into F minor 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have. So all these chords are in the key of A flat major. We're not leaving the key at any point during the song. Then we go back to A flat for a second, and then we go back into this chord, the D flat major 7, E flat, A flat. Now let's talk about the melody. So we're just stuck on B flat pretty much. Like she kind of switches around a little bit, but for the purposes of this video, I'm just gonna stick to B flat. We start out with this. This is not in the chord. This is another add 9. Let's use the same process as before. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we're just adding the 9. You can also play down here. Then we go into the E flat. B flat is in the chord already, so it works out. And then we went into the D flat major 7. And B flat is not in that chord. And this would be a 6. Because starting from D flat, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is called a 6-7 chord because we have a 6 and we have a 7. Then we go back into the E flat for a second, and then we go into F minor 7 with the added B flat, which in this case is the 4th or the 11th. Then we go into A flat for a second, then we go back to 7-6, E flat, A flat. What is the purpose of the 9th in this song? It just sounds good. Sometimes you do it because it sounds good. It's an added color. That's called a color. So if you just have normal vanilla A flat, E flat, A flat, it sounds kind of boring. If you add a note to it, or if you add another note to it, it gets more colorful. This next song may be familiar to you. It's called Can't Stop the Feeling by Justin Timberlake, among other producers. It was made for the movie Trolls by DreamWorks. This song is in C major, which goes like this. All white keys, super easy, right? This song kind of jumps around between all this and it introduces some black keys too. Let me explain. The chords for this song are C major, A minor, F major, then we jump back into A minor. That's for the verse. Now for the bridge into the chorus, we're introduced to this. Now where does this B flat come from? I thought we were all white keys. We were, but now we transitioned into F major, which goes like this. Go from there, go into C normally with the normal bass note. Do that again. Then we go into this. Which, where are these coming from now? Those are actually from F minor, which goes like this. So now we've jumped from F major to F minor, and you'll see that the chord I just played is all in F minor. We have F, G, here's the A flat, here's the B flat, then we go into C, then the D flat, and here's the E flat, so it's all here. Then for the next chord, we go from this to this, which is the normal B flat chord, which actually comes from F major again. So we've gone from C major to F major to F minor to F major. Now we're about to jump back into F minor with this chord, F minor 7. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then we jump back into B flat, and C. So now for the melody, we're mostly stuck on D. JT goes like, he kind of jumps around, but you hear the emphasis on the D a lot. Now we have an add 9 chord right away, because we have C, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're just adding the 9. Then we go into A minor with the D added on top. This is an add 4 or add 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We go into F with with the D on top, which is an F6 chord, because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll go into A minor again. That's pretty much it. Why does it jump around so much? It's because that's how jazz works. Justin Timberlake's career is founded on pop songs with blues and jazz and R&B influences. Those genres like to subvert your expectations of the key. So in C major, like all white keys. Then you might throw in B flat, A flat, F minor, just going into some minor keys, minor tonalities, just to spice it up a little bit. There's a lot more to it than that. I don't want to explain the whole history behind jazz and blues and R&B and blue notes and all that stuff, but just know that it's part of the sound. Justin Timberlake was raised on that sound, so it was natural for him to introduce that sound to this song. Now we're going to move into a song called Style by Taylor Swift. It's in D major, which goes something like this. D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D. So we start with B minor. And all the chords for this song are in the key, so we're not going out of the key again, like with the last song. Then we go into G major 7, which if you'll notice, I'm just putting my thumb over here. We're starting with B minor. I put my thumb over here, it's G major 7. And I'm going to go into E minor. Then we go into F sharp minor 7, G major 7. And then we go into the chorus, which features the melody. Then when we combine the chords and the melody, we start with this, which is a nice add 9 chord again. Starting from D, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Adding the 9 in there. We have the D at 9, and then we go into G major with the E on top. And again, this is an inversion because the D is normally up here, but I'm playing it down here. Because it's easier to go from this to this than from this to this. Again, same exact notes, just in a different order. That's called an inversion. What do we do with the E on top then? That's a 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then we go into B minor, which I'm playing in a really freaky way. This is a weird inversion of it. It's easier, again, to go from this and this to this. I'm just moving these to down here. What's the E then? This would be a 4th. So what's the point of the 9ths in this song? This is in style. This matches the root note of the chord. And this is in style, because it matches the root note. This is in style, matches the root note, but this is not in style, because there is no E in this chord. So you're literally out of the chord. Same thing here, you're out of the chord. And here, you're out of the chord. So you're out of style. This note is out of style. This next song may be familiar to you if you're familiar with TikTok, or not. It's by Tame Impala and it's called The Less I Know the Better. It's in E major, which goes like this. E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, E. The chords for this song go like this, at least for the chorus. We start with C sharp minor, B major, E major, and then every once in a while they either go back to the B major or the G sharp minor. But either way, let's talk about the guitar. That's not the melody. This is the melody. So what is this? That's the guitar in the background if you listen closely. The notes for the ostinato are F sharp, E, G sharp, E, F sharp, E, G sharp, E. It just keeps looping around. In accordance with the chords, we start with C sharp minor. So right away we start with a note that's not in the chord. This is the add 4 or add 11, as I've explained. And then we go into the E, which is in the chord, go into the G sharp, which is in the chord, and the E, which is in the chord. And the next chord is B. This time the F sharp is in the chord, and the E is not. And then we have the G sharp, which is also not. So what about the E? So this E, again, is the added 4 or added 11. And then the G sharp is an added 6. In the chord, out of the chord, out of the chord, out of the chord. Then we go into E major. This is not in the chord. This is the add 2 or add 9. And then we go E, which is in the chord, and G sharp is in the chord. E is in the chord. And then we go back to B, or if we go into G sharp minor, this F sharp is not in it. This is actually the 7th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. When we go into the E, this is the added 6, and then this is in the chord, and this is not in the chord. This ostinato goes all over the place, like it's in the chord and it's not in the chord. At least one of these notes at all times is outside of the chord. Now what's the point of the ninths in this song? This is not a like a pop song per se. I'm trying to do the air quotes, like pop song per se. This is a psychedelic alternative rock song. So why did I include it in the list? It's because it got popular on TikTok and it spread as a meme. And any song that spreads as a meme kind of becomes a pop song, in my opinion. If you're a Tame Impala fan, you may be offended by that in the comments, but I stand by what I said. In that case, this is a really strange pop song. It goes into some weird places with these chords. Normally, you hear stuff like this. Like the 4 chord cycles, sometimes the 3 chord cycles. So I can argue that when you start to venture outside of pop music, which is stuck in this 3 chord, 4 chord cycle, you can introduce more colors to your chords. Something like that. I'm not criticizing the 4 chord cycle or the 3 chord cycle. This is the foundation of pop music. It's what makes pop pop. The point of pop music is to be simple and fun to listen to. Like I don't think you'd be hearing Sirius XM talking about Giant Steps by John Coltrane. So that last song was really fun and interesting, right? Let's hope that the next one is too. Actually, it's kind of a sad song, unfortunately. It's called Say Something by A Great Big World. It's in D major, which goes like this. D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D. First chord of the song is B minor. Then we go into G. This is another inversion because the G is normally down here, but I'm playing it right here. It's easier to do this than to do this. And then after this, we go into D major, which I suppose you could play like this if you really wanted to stretch out your hand. And then we go into A major. That's the verse. And then for the chorus, we have D major. We go into F sharp minor, which is C sharp. I'm playing down here, should be up here, but it's another inversion. Then we go into G major. This time I'm putting the D in the bottom to go to here, D major. Then we go to A major. So now let's talk about the ostinato. It's D the whole time. You hear this. You'll notice if you listen to the song, it never goes away. It lingers the whole song. I have a confession to make. This song doesn't have any ninths in it. I just liked this, and I wanted to throw it in there because I couldn't think of any other songs that had ninths in them. I wanted to talk about this one because of this weird thing, which is an add 4 or add 11. This D is in all of these other chords. The B minor, the G, that D, it's in all of those, but it's not in A. It's really an interesting choice. The D is right here, and the C sharp is right here. It's really not that attractive of a sound on its own, but when you space it out, it sounds better, it sounds jazzier. I don't want this to be wasted space in the video. Let's throw in a pop quiz. I'm going to school to be a teacher, so I gotta do that. What would this be the ninth of? Let's remember that when you build a chord, you go every other letter. Let's pretend we're not in any particular key. Let's just start from the letter to make it easier. So we go like D, F, A, C, E, G, B. Go every other letter. And you can also count like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But let's talk about what this is the ninth of. We would go backwards. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So this is the ninth of C. And it doesn't matter if it's major or minor or diminished. It's always the ninth. I've said it before in this video, I'm going to say it again. Sometimes it just sounds good. But there should be an explanation still of why this D is here the whole time, right? It lingers though. And the whole point of the song is the speaker wanting to hear something. It's a lingering question. It's a lingering concern. Say something. Say something. Say something. From one song of melancholy to another song of melancholy, we jump into Kiss Me by Sixpence, None the Richer, one of the strangest names for a group that I've ever heard. This one's in E flat major, which goes like this. E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, C, D, E flat. The first chord that we hear is E flat major. And then we go into something called E flat major 7. We don't need to go into all the logistics and mechanics behind that, why it's called a major 7, and why this next chord is called a dominant 7th, but for the sake of this video, let's just call it E flat E flat major 7, E flat dominant 7. That's the majority of the verse, and then we go into an A flat major. As we transition to the chorus, we start with F minor 7, B flat, which I'm playing an inversion, which takes us into E flat, then C minor, and that's pretty much the whole chorus, except at one point they throw in a G minor. Now let's throw in the ostinato, which happens to be the melody. We're stuck on F, which in this case is the add 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. For the 7th chords, this would not be an add 9, it would be a full 9. You only call it an add 9 when you have the regular chord and you just add the 9th. That's why they call it the add 9. And then we go into the A flat, which we start with a 6th, with an A flat 6, which just goes away because these are in the chord. Then we go into the chorus, which starts with an F minor 7. So that's in the chord. That's fine. Then we go into E flat. Then we're back to this add 9 again. We are briefly met with an add 11, an add 4, the C minor. Then we go back to something in the chord. So those are all the chords for the entire song. What's the point of the ostinato in this song? I don't really know. Again, it's just a case of it sounds good. It's just a good color. This next song is also by Katy Perry, and it's called Wide Awake. This is the second of 3 Katy Perry songs in this video, and this one is in F major, which goes like this. F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, F. There are only 4 chords in this entire song. We have G minor, B flat, which I'm playing as an inversion, and then we go into F major and C major, which I'm also playing as an inversion. Now when we incorporate the melody, which has the ostinato in it, things get kind of different. In this first chord, the G is fine because it's a G chord. And then we go into this B flat with a G on top, which is the 6th. We go into F major, for which this is the added 9th. Then we go into C, and this is in the chord, so it's fine. Then we go into the chorus, which has the same chords, of course, and the melody goes like, and the A is fine. And then she doesn't sing the A on this C major. So the only 9th chord in this song is this F major add 9. But there's something significant about that, because the first line of the chorus is falling from cloud 9. Now we have reached the final song for this video, which is Firework by Katy Perry, the 3rd Katy Perry song in this video. This song is in A flat major, which goes like this. First chord is A flat major. G flat major 7, which goes like this. F minor 7. And then we go into D flat major 7, which you can play like this. Or you can play like this. Or you can play like this. This may be the easiest way to do it with one hand. But no matter what, it's all the same chord, just inverted differently. I don't do this in the playthrough, but later on they throw in an E flat, which you can play down here, or you can do down here. This is a 4-chord song, but this song makes it interesting because of the colors that are added to it, like Fireworks. It's a song about fireworks, letting your spirit shine like fireworks, so why not add some colors to the song, which happens in the final chorus. Now let's incorporate the melody, which is where we start to see the color. Well, not here, because those are in the chord. This is A flat. And then in the case of the G flat major 7, which goes like this, for the melody, we're adding this note because it goes. Now this chord becomes a G flat major 9. And then we go into the F minor 7, which is fine. We passed by this B flat a little bit, but otherwise we're still in the chord. The next chord is that D flat major 7, which I'm going to play like this. And again, we pass by this B flat. If we started this B flat, it would become a 6th. And those are the chords. But now let's talk about that final chorus. This is when I start to hear more colors, because instead of this A flat, we start to hear this. This is an A flat 9, a full 9th. Listen how colorful that is. I really like this chord. We go into B flat minor, but we add this. We add the 7th, and then we also add the 9th. Making this another full 9 chord, which is making this song really colorful and jazzy now. Then we go into the F minor 7 with the added 4, or the added 11 of the B flat. Then we go into the D flat major 7, and I think they add the 6th. The cool thing about this song is that the 9ths are incorporated everywhere. It's not just because of the melody on top or because of the ostinato. It's all ingrained in the song. It's written that way. That's why it's my favorite one of this group. Not because it's the most complex, but just because it's the most fun to play. It's very colorful. Alright, so make sure to stick around for part 2 if you're interested in part 2. Feel free to subscribe if you want more videos like this. If you have any more songs that have 9ths in them, in particular pop songs, you can comment them below. If you want to like this video and subscribe, that'd be cool. If you want to share this video, go right ahead. I'm not asking you to do anything, I'm just suggesting. You don't have to do any of those things. See you next time. Please stay safe and healthy out there.